Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Khairahma. I come from State University of Medan. Now I'm going to tell you about my short experiment with the title is Preservative Content and Storage Time Effect on Mold Growth in Various Types of Sandwich Bread. The definition of white bread as one of the processed products from wheat flour that is widely consumed by the public at low price causes white bread to be easily accessible to all levels of society. However, white bread has a very short shelf life of 2. White bread can experience a decrease in quality characterized by the growth of mold, causing white bread to have an unpleasant smell and thus hard texture, dark and sticky crumbs. Most people do not pay much attention to the appearance of white bread concept. This usually occurs at the beginning of the expiration of bread, with the characteristic of fungal growth on bread that is no longer suitable for consumption. This habit is often carried out, which can bring many diseases. Wheat flour, which is the basic ingredient in making white bread, contains starch in a relatively high quantity. This starch can be hydrolyzed into simple sugar by microorganisms, especially fungi. Because simple sugar fungi are the main microorganisms that play an important role in the process of making and spoiling bread. Some types of fungi that are often found in bread decay are Rhizopus stolonifer, Penicillium species, Marker species. One way to inhibit the growth of mold can be added preservatives. Preservatives commonly used in the bakery industry to inhibit microbial growth, including propionate syrup. One way to determine the effectiveness of these preservatives is to analyze the shelf life of white bread. Estimation of the shelf life of white bread using the extended storage studies method, which is carried out by storing food in normal conditions and observing quality degradation every day until it reaches an expired quality level, and also observing mold that occurs on white bread that has expired in 4 days. In this method, I bought white bread and sandwiches in various stores. The sandwich bread used in this experiment was the same as ordinary white bread, but the sandwich bread test was given a different flavor variation filling. The brand tests are sari roti with chocolate flavors, cream cheese, pandan srikaya. I bought white bread without preservatives with moldy state after 4 days of expiration. Mostly in the market near my house, white bread is sold without preservatives, while many types of sandwich bread use. After that, a photo shoot was carried out on the composition of each bread to be tasted. Then open each bread package and place in a special container. In order for the bread to rot quickly or moldy, all bread in the container should not be closed. Bread was observed daily and kept the same temperatures for all. First day, Sunday, June 11, 2023. Observation began at 10 p.m. The bread is still fragrant and soft. The cider sandwich bread expired on June 16, 2023 with chocolate, peanut, and pandan srikaya flavors, while the cream cheese flavored sandwich bread expired on June 15, 2023. For bread under the trademark Mr. Bread with margarine and chocolate flavors will expire one day, Monday, June 12, 2023. The fragrance of the bread is still fragrant and also day 3, Tuesday, June 13, 2023. The fragrance of the bread has begun to change and some evolve. Wednesday, June 14, 2023. On the 4th day, the white bread has hardened starting from the sari roti sandwich bread with cream cheese, chocolate, pandan srikaya, and peanut flavors. This same thing also happens to the Mr. Bread brand bread, which also hardened with chocolate and margarine flavors.
Bread has already become
2023. All breads under the Mr. Bread brand have entered the expiration period. The texture and smell are still the same on the fourth day, but some breads have begun to brown.
On the first day, both the texture and smell of the bread were still good and fragrant. But the changes began to rot on the third day, where the fragrance of the bread has begun to change, a slight rancid smell and a rather hard texture. And on the fourth day, the white bread had hardened and smelled on some bread. This is in accordance with the statement of Koswara in 2009, where during storage white bread can experience a deterioration in quality characterized by the growth of mold, causing white bread to have an unpleasant smell and thus hard texture, dark and sticky crumbs, and changes in skin color. The cause of bread becoming hard was conveyed by Sugiharto in 2016. He said that the transfer of moisture content from the crumb to the crust caused the crumb to become drier, harder and brittle, while the crust becomes soft, tough, and lost its crispiness. This cause in bread is caused by the auto-oxidation of unsaturated fatty acid radicals in fat. Auto-oxidation begins with the formation of free radicals by the texture that can speed up reactions such as light, heat, fatty peroxide, heavy metals, and purpurine metals. Then this radical with oxygen from active peroxide, which came from hydroperoxide, which is very unstable and easily breaks into compounds with shorter carbon chains. These compounds with shorter C chains are fatty acid, aldehydes, and ketones that are volatile and cause rancid odor. As for the fourth and fifth days, the smell of pandan sarikaya bread is still fragrant, which can be caused by the content of sarikaya jam, which uses potassium sorbate preservatives and uses pandan synthetic flavors. Pandan's flavor, white bread is still fragrant even though it has passed the expiration date may be caused by the following factors. The first is that a good unhygienic processing of white bread can affect the shelf life and durability of bread. If white bread is produced with high hygienic standard and fresh ingredients, then the aroma and taste of pandan can remain even though it has passed the expiration date. It is important to remember that the expiration date is a general clue regarding the quality and freshness of the products. The addition of preservatives can reduce the water content of food ingredients because preservatives are hygroscopic. To decompose preservative salts into acid, water obtained from these foods is needed so that the water in the food becomes reduced. The more preservatives that are added, the more bound water so that the moisture content of food will decrease. While on white bread without preservatives, the bread within 3 days after the expiration period has undergone a maturing process where it is characterized by the presence of a blackish green color on the edge of the bread or the middle of the bread. Mold growth on white bread occurs very quickly. This is because the basic ingredient of making bread is wheat flour. Flour contains a relatively high amount of starch. Starch can be converted into simple sugar by microorganisms, especially fungi, because simple sugar are the main source of nutrients for fungi. According to Lohana 2010, bread is packaged and stored at room temperature can last for 2 until 3 days. Mold is aerobic and most or faster grows on the outside of the surface of contaminated foodstuff. This is because the outside of white bread is exposed to air faster so that it is quickly overgrown by mold than the inside. Mold on white bread taste grows at room temperature. This is in line with Rizana Suharti et al. 2016, stating that about 66.7% of fungi will grow more easily on white bread that is at room temperature. Some fungi on bread, namely Rhizophystoneper, have a white color like cotton and black spots. Penicillium expansum and Penicillium stolonifer have green spots, while Aspergillus niger has a greenish or purplish brown to black color and yellow pigments that diffuse into bread. Factors that cause growth in fungi, namely moisture content, pH value, total microbes, total mold. Sorbic acid and its salts such as sodium sorbate, potassium sorbate, and calcium sorbate are antimicrobial agents commonly used as preservatives in food and beverage products to prevent the growth of mold, yeast, and fungi. In general, sorbate salts are preferred over the acidic form because of their greater solubility in water, but the active form is acidic. The optimum pH value for antimicrobial activity is below pH 6.5. Based on the experiment conducted, it can be concluded that bread without preservatives mold faster than bread with preservatives, where bread without preservatives can mold for 2 until 3 days after expiration, while bread with uses preservatives has a long expiration period of 5 days and is analyzed using study method where an experiment was carried out for 6 days. With this method, carried out by placing white bread on a container without being closed at room temperature, and